It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. Life on relationship low. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. We live on relationship road.
In flat number 18, Kasia is wondering what will happen when the worst of the virus has passed. Her contract at the lab is likely to be extended after October, but she can't be certain of this, and anyway, she had hoped that they would be moving back home at that point. Now it doesn't look like they will be going home just yet. She feels somewhat despondent and decides to try once again to talk with Pavel. Pavel, we need to talk about what will happen in October when my contract comes to an end, she says. I thought you said that it would probably be extended, says Pavel. So why are you worrying about it? You're always finding things to bother about these days. Why can't you just enjoy what we have right now and stop worrying about the future? But we have to think about the future, says Kasia, almost desperately. You promised me that we would move back after a year here. We've now been here for 2 years and still you say that you're not ready to go home. I just can't understand why you are delaying. We've been through this 1,000 times, says Pavel, slightly irritated but smiling, because he knows that this ploy works best. Then, as if speaking to a child, he continues. My business is going really well. It's a dream come true. I never thought I would be my own boss. And of course I have you, my lovely wife, he adds as a kind of afterthought. And as I have explained to you before, you need to be patient. The money I am earning is for both of us, for the house you want so much. In a few more years we will have enough money to buy a decent house, and we won't have to move again for a good few years. I know all of this, says Kasia, disappointed because Pavel hasn't added anything that she hasn't heard before. But my biological clock is ticking, and it was you who originally said that we should start a family while we are still quite young. At this rate I will be getting closer to 40 before we have a family. Look, says Pavel, trying to be patient. I have never had it so good, and I can't see me being able to replicate what I have if we move back home right now. I think you're being selfish, wanting me to give everything up just because you want to go home. It's time you grew up, Kasia, and stopped being a baby that wants to be home with her family. You talk to your mum every week, so I don't know what the problem is. We can go back in the summer and visit, or you can go back on your own if I'm busy. It's not like I'm stopping you, is it? Yeah, but you told me that we would go back last year, Pavel, says Kasia weakly. Yes, says Pavel, but we didn't know then just how amazing the business was going to be. I just don't understand why you can't be happy for me. I was nothing before, don't you see that? It was always about you and what you wanted to do with your life. And now finally, when I have found something that really interests me and that I can be successful at, you want to take it away from me. And then, just for good measure, Pavel threw in this. You say that you love me, but it's still all about you, isn't it? I thought that once we married, you would finally see things my way. And with that, he got up and went out. Kasia couldn't believe what she had just heard. From her perspective, she did everything for him. As far as she was concerned, he was her whole life. She had even turned down a much better job last year in a different laboratory so that they could stay together. At that time, she had tried to avoid putting pressure on him to move, giving him a chance to do what he wanted. How has it come to this, she asks herself. And once again she cries to herself while Pavel is out of the flat. Sadly, Kasia can't see that she is deeply in love with an illusion. She fell in love with the lovely young man who was not fully formed. But as he has matured, he has changed in many ways, and not all of those ways are compatible with her and her needs. Without external help, it may take a long time for Kasia to realise that Pavel is not who she once thought he was. Maybe she has also changed, but it's hard for her to see how she has changed herself. Right now, Kasia simply doesn't know what to do, and she feels engulfed in her disappointment. She is slowly drowning. Peter in number 3 has tried to establish a simple routine for himself and Alice. Most days Alice seems fine, but he has noticed that if their routine is upset in any way, Alice definitely becomes more agitated and even angry. Last week she lashed out at him, which is something she has never done in their 40 years together. Peter finally found the courage to tell Kathy, their daughter, about the dementia diagnosis, and Kathy was clearly very upset. All Kathy wanted to do when he told her was visit them. But the current restrictions due to the COVID-19 means that she dare not visit for fear of putting them all further at risk. It's been really tough on all of them to be so far apart at this difficult time. Peter hopes that Alice doesn't deteriorate too quickly, not only for his own benefit, but for Kathy, who will be devastated if she has not been able to visit her mum before she loses her mind to the illness. It's another sunny day, and Peter sees Dan in the garden, and so he plucks up the courage to go out and tell him the sad news. He has been avoiding Dan for a while now, as he hasn't felt strong enough to talk about Alice without breaking down. "Hi, Dan," he says casually. "Oh, hello, Peter," says Dan. "I was wondering what happened to you. I haven't seen you outside for a little while now. Under normal circumstances, I would have knocked on the door, but I've seen the lights on in the evening, so I just presumed you were busy indoors." "Yes," says Peter slowly. "We've had a lot to think about lately and things to do." Dan looks puzzled at Peter's vagueness, and then he remembers that Peter had been worried about Alice, and so he asks brightly, "How is Alice these days? Did you see the doctor?" Peter lowers his eyes and takes a deep breath. "It's almost worse than I thought," he tells Dan. "The doctor has confirmed that she has the early stages of dementia. He can't predict how quickly or how slowly it will develop, and so we have to put a routine in place, and we have written instructions around the house to try and help Alice to stay on top of things." "Oh, Peter," says Dan, visibly shaken by this news. "I'm so sorry to hear this. Is there anything we can do to help at all? Especially with Kathy living in the next town and not being able to come over at the moment. Do you need help with the shopping or anything?" "That's really kind of you, Dan," replies Peter. "But we have managed to buy the shopping online, and it is being delivered to us now today. And that helps because Alice can't be left on her own without getting very distressed. And yet when we went shopping together, she would get extremely anxious. We couldn't win. I'll have to go back inside in a minute. She gets very agitated if she can't see me for a while. Hopefully I will be able to get her back into the garden to do a few simple gardening jobs. Some days you wouldn't really know that there was anything wrong, except for the anxiety she experiences." "Well, if you're sure, Dan, you know you can call on us. Day or night, don't hesitate, especially at the moment with all of this going on. And let's face it, Olive and I won't be heading off travelling anywhere for a long time now, so we are pretty much guaranteed to be at home." "Thanks, Dan. I'll let you tell Olive if that's okay." "Of course," says Dan, and he and Peter head back into their respective bungalows. If you have something you would like to share or a concern you would like addressed, please send it in and we will try and incorporate it into the future storylines. Tune in again for the next episode of Relationship Road.
Welcome to Relationship Road, where people live just like me and you, alone or together in all kinds of weather, and most of them are scared of this flu. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. What kind of neighbor am I? Am I doing my bit for the road? My parents are elderly, my children disorderly, the whole world is suddenly slow. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. And if you need me, let me know, and I will be the first to show. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. The future, well, nobody knows, but we'll do our best till then, I suppose. I've got my friends and my family, no place that I'd rather be. I'm learning to go with the flow. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. And if you need me, let me know, and I will be the first to show. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. Life on Relationship Road. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help